Sometimes curiosity about one thing leads you somewhere you never expected to go. I started looking into a song, and what I found, the history, the politics, the controversies, is just mind blowing. You will know exactly what I mean as you keep watching. Every Tamil person has heard this song. In school assemblies, at government functions, at every chief minister swearing in ceremony that Tamil Nadu has ever seen. We all have stood up for it as Tamilians. You may have sung it. I asked a few Tamil people around me, people born and raised in Tamil Nadu. None of them could explain what the song and the lyric actually means. That includes myself. I didn't know either, but I wanted to learn more about it. And what I found was extremely interesting. You might want to stick around till the end of this video. Tamil Thai Vazhthu. Three words that mean invocation to Mother Tamil. An invocation is simply an opening prayer, a way of calling upon something sacred before you begin. The story behind it is far more interesting than most people know. Let us start with the man who wrote it. His name was Manonmaniyan Sundaranar. Born in 1855 in the Travancore region in what is today the state of Kerala. If you are asking what do you mean today it is Kerala? Yes, because the state of Kerala itself did not exist then. It was only created in 1956 when India reorganized its states by language. Now, let us get to the story. Manonmaniyam was raised in a deeply religious household, educated in Tamil, Sanskrit, and English. He became a teacher, a scholar, a writer. In 1891, at the age of 36, he wrote a Tamil drama called Manonmaniyam. The opening of that drama needed an invocation, the way a classical Tamil work begins with a prayer. In classical Tamil literature, every major work begins with an opening verse, a prayer to something sacred. It is a tradition thousands of years old. So he wrote one. That invocation became Tamil Thai Vazhthu, and he never called it that way. He called it Tamilanangu Vanakkam. It means invocation to the divine Tamil woman. He died 6 years later at the age of 42. He never saw what that invocation became. Now, what does Tamil Thai Vazhthu actually say? The song opens with one of the most beautiful images in Tamil literature. It describes the earth as a woman. She wears a sari made of rivers and oceans. Her face, glowing radiant, is the Indian subcontinent itself. In that subcontinent, the southern land is her forehead. On that forehead, a small crescent marking, a bindi. And the fragrance of that bindi spreads in every direction. That fragrance is Tamil. Think about that image for a moment. The entire earth is a woman. India is her face. Tamil Nadu is the marking on her forehead. And Tamil, the language, the culture, the people, is a fragrance the whole world can smell. The song also says Tamil is the mother of other southern languages, Kannada, Telugu, Malayalam. Now, before anyone in the comments comes after me, that is not me saying it. That is what a 36-year-old scholar wrote in 1891. I'm just the messenger. The song also describes Tamil as having everlasting, undying youth, a language that never ages. It ends with a direct address to Tamil herself. Oh great Tamil goddess, may your glory spread across all directions. May you bring joy to the entire world. Not Tamil Nadu, the entire world. That is what is being sung at the start of every government event in Tamil Nadu and in schools. Now, here is what I and most people I asked do not know about this song. If you are watching this, maybe you don't know as well. I get it. Did you know it only became Tamil Nadu's official state song in 2021? For decades, it was sung at government events by convention, custom, habit. It was Karunanidhi who first made it mandatory at state functions in 1970. But there was only an administrative order, not a law. No legal requirement to stand. No formal status as state song. And that gap stayed open for 50 years. What forced the issue was a 2018 controversy. The pontiff of the Kanji Mutt, one of Hinduism's most senior religious institutions, sat through Tamil Thai Vazhthu at a public event while the governor stood next to him. His reason? He was meditating. The outrage was immediate. Protesters stormed the Kanji Mutt premises wearing footwear inside, a serious religious insult, and criminally intimidated the Mutt manager. Cases were filed. The man who led the protest got arrested. He then went to the Madras High Court to argue that his own arrest was unjust because the pontiff was wrong. The judge threw out his case and while doing so noted that there is no law requiring anyone to stand for this song. He even wrote in his order, I cannot help asking whether the whole controversy was justified in the first place. 6 days after that observation, on December 17, 2021, M.K. Stalin formally declared it the official state song by law. Standing became mandatory for every able person. All of this because a pontiff sat with his eyes closed. But here is something even fewer people know. When Karunanidhi declared it mandatory in 1970, he edited it. The original poem contained lines about the destruction of Aryan languages. Aryan languages here means the northern Indian languages, Sanskrit, Hindi and their family, which the Dravidian movement believed were being imposed on Tamil culture and suppressing it. Karunanidhi removed them. He kept the Dravidian reference. He removed the anti-Aryan framing. What Tamil Nadu sings today is Karunanidhi's version, not exactly what Sundarana wrote in 1891. Now, I have to tell you the full picture of what is happening at this very moment in Tamil Nadu about this song. This song has been at the center of multiple controversies and they are worth understanding. The first is about a single word, Dravida. The song contains a line, Tekkanamum Adirchirunda Dravidanal Tirunadum, which refers to the great southern Dravidian land. In 2022, at an event attended by Tamil Nadu Governor RN Ravi, the singers omitted that word. MK Stalin made it a national controversy. He demanded the governor's recall. He accused him of having a Dravidian allergy. But 2 years later, at one of Udhayanidhi Stalin's own events at the Secretariat, 3 government employees sang Tamil Thai Vazhthu. They mispronounced words. They were asked to sing it again. They mispronounced the same words a second time. The same people who demanded the governor's recall completely silent. Udhayanidhi said the mic was not working properly. Critics said the mic was perfectly fine. Everyone in the room heard every mistake. The second controversy goes deeper. Simon, the leader of Nam Tamizhar Katchi, argues that the word Dravidan should not be in the song at all. He says Tamil identity is distinct from Dravidian identity. He wants a song replaced entirely with Bharatiyar's poem Sendamil Nadu, a song that celebrates Tamil without any Dravidian reference. There is also something striking that most people have never noticed. The word Tamil does not appear anywhere in the original lyrics. The song is called Tamil Thai Vazhthu, but Tamil, the word, is never written in it. Tamil is the goddess being invoked. She is present but not named. The way you might speak to someone without needing to say their name. And then there is the latest controversy from just days ago. At Vijay's own swearing-in ceremony on May 10, 2026, Tamil Thai Vazhthu was played after Vande Mataram and the national anthem, not before, as is Tamil Nadu's established custom. TVK, DMK and all alliances with TVK erupted. TVK has since announced at all future events Tamil Thai Vazhthu will be played first. A 135-year-old song is still being fought over in 2026. And here is the honest truth. Every time this song becomes a controversy, nobody is talking about a bigger issue that needs attention. So what you have here is a song written for a play by a 36-year-old scholar in 1891, a song that he never even called Tamil Thai Vazhthu. He died before it became anything. Karunanidhi adopted it, edited it, made it mandatory but not law. MK Stalin made it a law. 50 years later, because a court forced the question, and now Vijay's government is fighting over where it sits in a ceremony sequence. Every political era in Tamil Nadu has used this song for something, and the song has outlived all of them. If you grew up singing it without knowing what it meant, now you know. And the next time it plays at a government event or at schools, you might hear it very differently. If this is the kind of story you want more of, please subscribe and drop a comment. What did you not know before watching this video about Tamil Thai Vazhthu?